This is one of those videos where I tell people that there is a little something for everyone in this one, and I do mean that. If you're into cartoons, if you're into things from the 80s, if you're into comic strips, or you like comics that are based upon cartoons, if you're into superheroes, if you're into TV shows about superheroes, there is something in this video for you, so I definitely want to encourage you to stay tuned. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. As I mentioned in that brief intro, I am going to show you some books that are sitting here on my desk that I found this weekend in the 100K collection. Some of these books I found before but decided to now just pull them out. Others were literally found for the first time because I did not know that I had them, but we're going to go through all of them. But before I get to those books, I want to take a moment to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Go ahead and tap that button, turn on notifications, and that way you don't miss out on any of the content that comes out from the channel. And as a reminder, my mission here is to help you to make sense of comic book collecting. But not everything I put out is serious. Sometimes we do some basic stuff like some hauls of some really cool comics. In that spirit, we're going to start things off with Wally the Wizard. This is a short-lived comic that came out from a Marvel imprint called Star. And there have been a lot of titles that have come out of Star. Many of them were short-lived, and Wally was indeed one of them. I think this only went like 9 issues maybe, but Wally the Wizard, this is from the 80s. Definitely a cool cover right here. I have not read this comic, but maybe there are some of you out there that have read it and have some fond memories of Wally the Wizard. So if you do, make sure you leave those down in the comments section. The next one is one that I feel like I've heard about back in the 80s, but I don't know that I've ever read it. So I saw it in the bin. I had to pull it out because I just thought that it was a cool book. Again, this is another book that came out on the Star imprint. This is Planetary Terry. Planetary Terry. I'm sorry, it's Planetary. This is issue number 1. It was 65 cents from Star Comics. I got so confused with that title. Now begins the incredible saga of Planetary. Yeah, there you go. I think that was also pretty short-lived as well. Next up is the Get Along Gang. And I do believe that this one was actually a cartoon that was then made into a comic. I think I have that right. But again, there are some of you out there that are really into cartoons and stuff like that and old comic strips, and you're probably going to know some of this stuff better than I. But this is issue number 1 of the Get Along Gang. So definitely a cool, playful cover right there. And again, many of these I have never read. I don't know that I've ever seen some of these in the form of a comic. So if you know more about these titles, definitely leave those thoughts behind because I think we can all learn a little something. Pobbles. Pobbles is the next one. And I think that this one was actually a cartoon that ran for maybe 2 seasons and 40 some odd episodes. Pobbles issue number 1, the first spectacular issue, so saith the title up there in the corner. Definitely a cool, playful cover right here, reminiscent of, for me, of like 101 Dalmatians. That's what that feels like to me, but it looks like they're at the UN. You can see all of the flags in the background there, so definitely a cool, fun book from the late 80s. Next up is probably the most successful of all of the ones that I've shown you. This is Heathcliff issue number 1. And Heathcliff has been a long-running comic strip in newspapers. And this is the first issue of the comic. I remember reading Heathcliff in the newspaper back in the day as a young kid, so it was cool to find this one in the collection. This is the only one that I'm familiar with out of the last several, by and large. Like Planetary, I feel like I've heard of it, but this one, Heathcliff, I do know that one for a fact. So as I promised, there is a little something for everybody. So I actually pulled this one out. I knew that I had a lot of these books in the collection, still in the poly bag. I did not know if one of them actually contained the Deadpool card. Sure enough, went ahead and pulled X-Force issue number 1, and this one does indeed have the Deadpool card. It was bagged and boarded, so it might actually be in pretty good shape. But I think right now I have 5 or 6 copies of this. This is the only one that has the Deadpool card that is unopened. I had several other copies that I opened before, like more than a year ago. That's the only one that's still sealed. And by this point, you may have seen a video in which I did a haul of some comics that were related to the Titans TV show. I'm enjoying that series on not Netflix, on HBO Max, and it's actually in the 3rd season. I just wrapped up the 3rd season, thoroughly enjoyed it. Fingers crossed that we get another couple of seasons of this because I enjoy the Titans. But I was going through bins and I decided to pull issue number 1 of Nightwing. Definitely a cool cover there. I enjoy this character in the Titan show. So I saw this copy, went ahead and pulled it out. It is actually a pretty nice copy. It does have a spine tick or 2 that do not break color. So fingers crossed, if I were to ever send that in, maybe we can get a good grade out of it. Went ahead and pulled issue number 2 as well. I do not like this cover as much as issue number 1, but it is a cool cover nevertheless. So I went ahead and pulled this one out. Now, I probably have a couple of copies of that may have been pulled out a while ago that are set in another bin, so I'll have to go look for that in a second. But this one is one that I went into the collection to find this book, purposefully to find this one. Stumbled across those, so I pulled those out. This one is really cool because an episode of the Titans show was actually named after this character, Lady Vic. And so I wanted to find a copy. Sure enough, I found a single copy of issue number 4 featuring Lady Vic. So I just thought that was pretty cool. So I went ahead and snagged that. I don't even think this one's worth that much money, but I like being able to watch TV shows and movies and then go hunting in my own collection for some of the books that are referenced in those shows. So the next several books are inspired by the Teen Titans. I knew that these books were in the collection. I have multiple copies of these. I haven't pulled any of them out until I decided to do this video, so I went ahead and pulled them. This is Tales of the New Teen Titans. This is the mini-series, issue number 1, and this one actually features the origin story of Cyborg. So I have not read this. I did watch the Snyder Cut featuring Cyborg. I enjoyed the Snyder Cut. I enjoyed getting some additional insight into the Cyborg character I honestly was not all that familiar with, but when I watched the original version of that movie on HBO Max, I was a little disappointed with how they presented the character, but after watching the Snyder Cut, they fleshed him out. They made him more real, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. How much of that was derived from this issue, I honestly don't know, but I may take some time to read that issue just because I am interested in that character as a result of the Snyder Cut that was put out. And as you would imagine, maybe, I also pulled issue number 2, and this gives us an origin story for Raven. Kind of a cool cover here. There are some other covers featuring her that I prefer more, but this one is not bad. Again, issue number 2, Tales of the New Teen Titans. And I can tell you for a fact that there are boxes of Tales of the Teen Titans, Teen Titans, Teen Titans in the collection. Like every Titans title, I think I have a box for. So this is issue number 3 right here. This gives us the origin story of Beast Boy or Changeling. So I went ahead and pulled that one out because that is a cool character in the TV show. And then last but not least, I pulled issue number 4. This one gives us the origin story for Starfire and also for her sister as well. So cool couple of books. Again, I knew that these were in there, but had not pulled any of them. I don't think that any of them are worth a ton, but I just thought that they were cool books, especially after having finished yet another season of the Teen Titans show on HBO Max. With that said, I'm actually going to wrap this video up. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that I actually did have a little something for everybody. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I want to encourage you to go ahead and do that now. And if you truly enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, leave a comment behind, and we'll mix it up in the comment section. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.